Sharp blue eyes snap open with a start as a frantic gasp escapes the small creature's lungs. Toby, a trembling attendant from the Pavian temple, bows low before the sovereign, presenting a small basket containing a white cat with striking heterochromatic eyes. He introduces the animal as a sacred creature, a divine offering from the temple to the throne. The cat stares up in shock, recognizing the man on the throne as the emperor of this empire, Kunz von Bismarck, the only man in this world whose face she knows. Despite his breathtakingly beautiful appearance, Bismarck is notorious for a ruthless and cruel nature, so intense his name is said to heat the fires of hell. He leans forward, his voice cold, as he asks if the creature knows how to read mistletoe omens. The cat panics, wondering why she was sent to this terrifying man specifically. She screams internally that she cannot perform such a feat because she is not actually a sacred creature. Toby stands frozen, stuttering and sweating under the emperor's gaze, while the cat begs him to do something before they are both executed. A new man enters the fray, scooping the cat into his arms. The cat wonders if he is a high-ranking official, perhaps a minister of the Redela Empire, and tries to use her innate charm to win him over. She preens, confident in her beauty since birth, hoping to gain an ally to survive this desperate situation. The newcomer suggests that fetching mistletoe is too much trouble and proposes a different test, letting the creature divine the future using rune letters instead. The cat's eyes bulge in horror as she realizes this man is just as crazy as the emperor. Bismarck agrees to the new trial and asks what they should divine first. The minister casually suggests guessing today's lunch menu, noting that if the sacred creature cannot even guess such a trivial thing, it is utterly useless. The emperor stares down with a menacing shadow over his face, declaring that if it fails, he will throw it into the bear enclosure. Desperate and certain she is about to die, the cat frantically scans the room, deciding she won't be intimidated by these jerks. She reaches out and makes a snap choice among the items. The minister announces to the majesty that the cat has chosen beef. A heavy silence fills the hall as Bismarck walks closer, his expression unreadable. The cat's heart thumps loudly against her ribs as she waits for the verdict. The emperor finally speaks, stating coldly that he did not eat beef for lunch. The cat's face pales in terror, convinced she chose wrong and is headed for the bears. Bismarck turns his back, ordering the creature to be thrown away since there is nothing more to see. Suddenly, the minister smiles, revealing that while the majesty didn't eat it, roast beef was indeed the main dish prepared for the meal. The cat's eyes sparkle with tears of joy at this narrow escape. The minister chuckles, mentioning he wanted to entertain the bear Sven, but giving such a tiny fur ball to the beast wouldn't even count as a snack. Bismarck relents, acknowledging the loyalty of the Pavia temple and declaring he will keep the priests and the sacred creature close forever. Toby bows one last time, expressing his deep gratitude and preparing to take his leave. The cat panics, screaming for Toby not to leave her alone with these insane men. Bismarck looks down at the lump left in his care and officially appoints the trembling Soba Meyer as the royal caretaker of the sacred creature. While the cat feels a pang of guilt for Toby's new stressful job, she is mostly relieved to be alive. Legends say that odd-eyed sacred creatures can see the future with their green eye, and Bismarck stares intently at the animal, eager to see what it can really do. The cat huddles back, her secret weighing on her. She can't see the future at all, because she isn't a sacred creature. She is a human turned cat. Lim Marie was once just an ordinary bank employee, finishing a long day at Century Bank with the usual farewells from her colleagues. That particular day, however, she feels more tired out than usual. Her joints crack with fatigue, leading her to wonder if it was so wrong to stop by a bookstore to relax for a bit. Having just been paid, she decides to treat herself to some new books. Inside, she finds herself captivated by a novel, marveling at how handsome the male lead appears on the cover. She decides to purchase that specific book and heads home. Or at least, that was the plan. While riding home on bus number 5478, she begins to read, wondering if it was a great mistake to purchase the book just because she was captivated by the cover, unaware of the emperor's cruelty and coldness. A sudden, deafening honk pierces the night, and her eyes widen in shock as the blinding headlights of a truck crash into the side of the bus. For a moment, she thinks she is dead, but then she experiences strange sensations. Something warm, soft, and the sounds of sucking and slurping. When she finally comes to her senses, she realizes with a start that she has become a cat in the very novel she was reading. A voice calls out that it is time for a meal, addressing her as Katerina. The white cat, Katerina, lets out a happy meow, recognized now as a temple cat. She realizes she was born as this cat's baby and was offered to the emperor as soon as she was weaned. It is a ridiculous situation to wake up in a novel, especially one where she had only managed to read 3 pages. Making matters worse, 2 of those pages were dedicated entirely to character descriptions. But of all things, she is a cat. Yet, there is a glimmer of hope. The title of the novel was The Emperor and the Cat, and the cat's character description came immediately after the emperor's. This leads her to believe she must be an incredibly important cat. On top of that, the very last sentence she read before the accident was about how to turn into a human. Her only hope now is the possibility that this cat might be a shapeshifter. It is the only way to end a life as a cat who is at constant risk of being tossed into a bear pit. The problem is, she never got to read the actual method for transformation. She begins experimenting, wondering if she needs to roll forward or roll backward. She briefly considered leaping from the 3rd floor, but decides to hold off on that for now. Thinking like a Korean, she recalls a founding myth where a bear and a tiger ate mugwort and garlic to become human, and she wonders if she is supposed to eat something specific. With no other choice, she vows to try whatever she can. She blinks her heterochromatic eyes as evening falls. In this cat body, she feels sleepy no matter how much she sleeps. But her ears suddenly perk up as a message arrives. A messenger informs the emperor that the late emperor's hidden illegitimate child appeared again in the Vichy estate. Bismarck bursts into the room, his voice cold and commanding as he orders that not only the illegitimate child, but also their accomplices be charged with treason. His aide asks in surprise if he isn't even going to see who it is, but Bismarck scoffs, asking what good that would do unless a younger sister to marry off to Herzentin. Bismarck's gaze then falls upon a white lump on the floor and asks what it's doing there. The cat, pretending to be asleep, listens as Tobias Meyer explains that the cat was probably cold and came in because it's warm. Bismarck remarks that it's not very quick-witted for a spiritual animal. The cat feels the vibration of footsteps and panics, wondering if he is going to kick her. Bismarck asks Tobias if he wants to guess what is for dinner, but the cat decides she had better run away. As she tries to sneak off on tiptoe, a hand suddenly grabs her and she lets out a startled meow. Tobias holds her up, asking where the caretaker is. The caretaker enters the room, asking if he has kept the spiritual animal waiting for long, but stops in his tracks when he sees the emperor. He bows deeply, apologizing, and explaining that he was away for a moment to send a letter to the temple. Bismarck hands the cat over, asking why it keeps coming into the audience chamber. Tobias isn't sure if it's because it was the first room the cat was in, or because it's warm, but the spiritual animal keeps returning. The cat grumbles internally, knowing this place is the warmest and nicest. Tobias suggests taking the cat to his quarters since they are warm too, but Bismarck interrupts, asking why he would take a dirty animal into his room. The cat is filled with rage at being called dirty. Bismarck firmly instructs Tobias to make sure the cat doesn't enter his room or private quarters beyond those doors. Though she thought he would kick her out, the cat is relieved to stay in the palace, knowing nowhere else is as warm as this chamber. Later, she continues her transformation attempts, trying Method 17, rolling backward while eating broccoli. She spits the vegetable out with a splat, wondering if she failed again and what she must do to become human. Hearing a commotion outside, she jumps up and hears that Princess Michaela has arrived. As the doors click open, the cat is stunned by the newcomer's beauty. The golden-haired woman stands amidst a swirl of petals and fluttering butterflies, her bright blue eyes shimmering with a gentle smile. She is Princess Michaela, the Emperor's only sister and the Queen of Greyhin, an allied country. Tobias looks on in shock, his mind racing at the revelation that the Emperor has a sister who is already a queen. Looking at her youthful face, he wonders just how young she must have been when she was married off. The white kitten bristles with indignation, recalling the Emperor's heartless remark about wishing for a younger sister to appear just so he could marry her off. She fumes at his audacity to speak such words after sending away such a tiny, adorable sister. As she concludes that he is truly heartless, the Emperor's voice rings out, calling Michaela's name with a wide, genuine smile. She cries out to him joyfully, "Your Majesty!" and rushes into his arms for a warm embrace. He welcomes her back with the tenderness that leaves the kitten stunned, watching him smile in a way she never knew he could. The atmosphere shifts as a man with lilac hair and golden eyes approaches, greeting the Emperor by saying it has been a while. Michaela playfully chides her brother for exaggerating, while her husband, Argyle, thanks the Emperor for the invitation. The Emperor notes that Michaela had been bombarding him with letters about missing the local weather, and he urges his guest to head inside and rest after their long journey. Suddenly, Michaela's eyes widen with delight as she spots a white kitten. The kitten, who was just about to take a nap, is startled as Michaela points out that the Emperor usually only keeps bears and hunting dogs. The Emperor explains that the creature is a spiritual animal from Pavia Temple. Michaela is deeply impressed to hear that the kitten correctly identified a lunch menu through runestone divination, cooing over how impressive it is for such a baby. The kitten feels a pang of guilt, knowing it actually just was a lucky guess. When Michaela asks the kitten's age, an attendant informs her she is about 2.5 months old. Michaela is completely smitten, admiring the kitten's soft fur and tiny nose. The kitten, sensing the admiration, decides to turn on the charm and perform a long, adorable stretch. She blinks her heterochromatic eyes rapidly, making Michaela's heart melt. Overcome by the cuteness, Michaela turns to her brother and begs to have the cat. The Emperor agrees immediately without a single moment of hesitation. The kitten is outraged by his lack of care, shouting internally that he is harsh for giving her away so easily. However, an attendant quickly intervenes, apologizing and explaining that the spiritual animal must remain within the empire. Michaela accepts this, but then asks for the sweet cat's name. The kitten suddenly realizes she doesn't actually have a name yet. When the attendant explains they simply call her the spiritual animal, Michaela is horrified that such a pretty cat is nameless. She fumes that everyone at Herrera Callis is as cruel as the owner, especially when the Emperor dismissively suggests it doesn't matter since the cat might be fed to a black bear soon. Michaela snaps back at his blasphemy, warning that Goddess Pavia won't forgive him, and declares that she will name the kitten herself. She decides on the name Marie. The kitten is frozen in shock, as Marie was her name in her past life. Michaela explains that she met a wandering oracle on her way who told her that if she headed south to Herrera Palace, she would meet an important figure named Marie. She admits she originally thought her brother might be seeing a woman, but decided the prophecy must refer to the cat. While the Emperor scoffingly asks if she really believes a wandering oracle, Michaela insists she would rather trust that than his cruelty. The kitten wonders what else the oracle might have seen as Michaela asks for final approval of the name. The kitten lets out a happy meow, and Michaela is overjoyed, though she still doesn't trust her brother to look after the creature. She corners him, demanding he swear a formal oath to protect Marie. The Emperor tries to brush her off with a casual, "Sure," but she growls at him to stop being inattentive. Calling him her only blood relative and the son of Kella, she demands he make a formal oath. The Emperor finally relents and calls for his guards to bring his sword. He draws the blade with a sharp shing and points it forward in a solemn gesture. He declares, "I, Klaus von Bismarck, the Emperor of Kella, swear before the Queen of Greyhin. He vows to guard Marie as if she were Michaela herself, ensuring she is safe from everything under his protection. Michaela is moved to tears by his promise, while Argyle notes that Michaela was clever to ask the king of another country to act as a witness. The kitten rejoices, feeling she has finally escaped the threat of the bear pen. She thanks Michaela in her heart as the day ends. However, the very next day, the sound of frantic scratching and scraping echoes through the palace. A door creaks open, and the kitten staggers into the room, panting and exhausted. She flops onto the floor, letting out a weak bleh, and realizing bitterly that the Emperor's promise of being safe from anything was far from the truth. That morning, the routine is broken by a sudden question. Is he really going to the temple? Toby confirms his departure, looking worried because he still hasn't received a reply. Before he leaves, he asks Princess Michaela if she could stay with Marie in the meantime. Princess Michaela interjects with a joyful smile, promising to take good care of her. Since arriving in Kella, Michaela has been so fond of the kitten that she refuses to leave her side. She thanks Toby, inviting Marie to have fun together. Marie responds with a content purr, and seeing the two together, Toby feels a wave of relief and promptly sets off to the temple, nodding a final goodbye to everyone. As he leaves, Toby reflects on how much he has been through since coming here, hoping the temple will finally offer him some rest. Inside, Marie gasps, wondering if he is actually coming back. Her attention is quickly diverted as she is faced with something amazing. Before her lies a spread so delicious and varied that she is overwhelmed with choice. She realizes that with so many options, she will surely find the food that can turn her back into a human soon. Driven by hope, her paw reaches out for just a little taste. The Emperor, Klaus, watches with a knowing ahem, guessing that Marie is simply hungry, but he sharply tells Michaela not to let her do that. He demands she put the kitten down, insisting that even if she is a spiritual animal, a beast cannot be allowed at the table. Michaela sighs, though her heart is full of love, and agrees to set Marie down, promising the kitten she will give her some food later. The Emperor lets out a mocking pift at the scene, which sends Marie into a silent rage. She finds his face incredibly annoying as she glares at him from the floor. As the meal continues, the guests remark on how delicious all the dishes are. Michaela is glad to hear it and encourages them to eat as much as they want. However, Klaus's voice cuts through the pleasantries as he calls Michaela's name. He warns her that she is giving way too much food to that lump. Michaela flinches at his tone, but Marie is busy stuffing herself, ignoring his jabs. Klaus scoffs that he can't even tell if she's a cat or a pig anymore. Marie, now completely full, glares up at him, thinking that he is being ridiculous. She believes she has no choice but to eat if she wants to become human again. Michaela simply giggles, finding the way Marie eats to be absolutely cute. An attendant interrupts to announce the dessert, Chef Britta's special chocolate. Michaela is thrilled, noting it's a favorite she craved while in Greyhin. Marie's ears perk up instantly at the mention of chocolate, remembering it was her favorite food when she was a human. She springs up, and Michaela asks if she wants some, wondering if the kitten is truly not full yet. Marie responds with a chorus of meows and purrs, asserting that there is always room for dessert. Michaela laughs and tells her to wait just a minute as Marie begins to chomp and munch on the treat. Marie is in heaven, thinking this is the best chocolate she has ever tried. Argyle watches the kitten eat and asks if it is really that tasty. Suddenly, Lucas, the man with the black hair, freezes in horror. He asks the princess if she just fed chocolate to Marie. Michaela, surrounded by flowers and joy, happily confirms that Marie loves it and seems to have the same tastes as her. Lucas panics, shouting that it is not safe for cats to eat chocolate. Klaus wipes his mouth, wondering aloud to Argyle if the queen will lead him to break his oath in a single day. Argyle can only let out a nervous ha-ha, realizing Marie has already eaten all of it. He worries about what to do, even though she looks fine for the moment. Marie licks her paws and slurps, thinking Lucas is being dramatic since she is probably human. She's certain a few pieces won't hurt her. The scene shifts to now, where the consequences hit. Marie lies on the floor, panting and sweating in the dark. She feels like she's dying, the pain becoming unbearable as she coughs and keels over. She wonders if she is going to die like this. A voice rings out, asking which little rat dared to sneak into the Emperor's chambers. Klaus walks in, his sword drawn, only to find Marie collapsed on the floor. He recognizes the lump and demands to know what is going on. "Marie!" Klaus shouts her name, his eyes wide with shock. He calls out for anyone to come help. Later, Michaela is in tears, blaming herself and explaining she had no idea cats couldn't eat chocolate. An older woman comforts her, explaining that they made the kitten throw it all up, so she should be fine soon. Klaus looks down at the kitty cat, urging her to open her eyes and be all right. Marie, barely conscious, tells Michaela not to cry, admitting she was the one who begged for the food. She looks at Lucas, admitting he was right. Klaus is still in a fury, yelling at the doctor that he won't be safe himself if he fails to save the spiritual animal. Marie is dumbfounded, wondering if the Emperor is actually upset and yelling just to save her life. He recalls him saying he'd feed her to a bear, yet here he is, distressed. Klaus, catching himself, lets out an ahem and a sigh, realizing it hasn't even been a day since he swore to protect her. He worries about how he will face the temple if she is harmed while Toby is away. Marie trembles and quivers as the doctor dashes forward, announcing she has woken up and he will examine her. Michaela wails her name again in relief. The doctor confirms that her stomach sounds much better and advises them to monitor her diet. Klaus stands back silently as the others rejoice in a happy huddle. He takes his leave, but not before muttering to himself about how pathetic it is that a spiritual animal is such a fool she couldn't save her own life. Michaela defends her, arguing that Marie was smart enough to approach him for help. Marie, hearing this, thinks that had she known it was Klaus's room, she'd never have gone in. She'd rather be a fool. Klaus tusks, but then makes a surprising declaration. He will allow the lump to enter his chambers until she gets better. Time passes to the sound of a pen scratching and scribbling. Marie let out a big yawn, resting on a plush pillow. Klaus, sitting at his desk, comments on how big she can open her mouth. Since the incident, Klaus has become a little kinder toward her. He even checked on her throughout the night to see if she was all right. Marie watches him, thinking he might be gentle at heart after all. She remembers that in the novel he was a bloodthirsty tyrant, but she wonders if that's actually true. Suddenly, a loud slam echoes through the room. Marie jolts in surprise as Michaela stands in the doorway, looking absolutely furious. She demands to know if it's true that Klaus has imprisoned Toby. Marie, resting nearby, is jolted awake by the news, her mind racing with confusion as she wonders why Toby would be in prison. Michaela confronts Klaus directly, asking what this is all about. Klaus remains at his desk, focused on his paperwork as if nothing out of the ordinary is happening. Michaela's voice rises in protest, calling his actions excessive. She questions why he would imprison a servant who simply went to the temple where he's from, and she boldly declares that since she allowed Tobias to go, Klaus should punish her instead. Klaus looks up from his seat and coldly replies that if she weren't the Queen of Greyhin, he would have done exactly that. He tells her not to make a fuss and commands her to leave. Michaela tries to protest further, but the heavy doors creak open as Lucas enters the chamber. Lucas addresses the princess, explaining that His Majesty had his own reasons for the decision and asks her to leave now. Michaela is stunned, unable to believe that Lucas is siding with the Emperor's reasoning. Later, Lucas sits with Michaela and Marie to explain the truth of the situation. He reveals that the temple actually tried to keep Toby from returning to the palace, even though he is now the official caretaker for the spiritual animal. Michaela is shocked by this revelation. Lucas adds that the Emperor needed to set an example because there have been cases where the temple ignored imperial orders. Klaus used imprisonment as a strategic excuse to keep Toby within the palace walls as Marie's caretaker. Michaela feels a wave of relief and guilt, wishing Klaus had just told her the plan from the start. Lucas reassures her that Toby will be released soon. Klaus, watching from a distance, wonders why everyone bothers with such a fuss. Michaela's attitude shifts instantly. She understands the necessity, but still requests that Tobias be released as soon as possible so he can check if Marie is truly all right. She gives a formal, polite bow, asking the Emperor to make a formal oath to protect the kitten. Klaus notes to himself how she is only ever polite at times like these. Lucas leads Michaela out, assuring her the Emperor will take care of it. Marie remains behind, completely baffled by the complex political games of humans. Klaus looks at the kitten and mutters that it is a great fortune not to have a younger sister. Marie, in her feline thoughts, snaps back that the lucky thing is actually not having an older brother like him. True to Klaus's word, Toby is released after just a day. He rushes to the palace looking weak and feeble from his ordeal, shouting Marie's name. Marie springs into the air, meowing loudly for him as they share a tearful, touched hug. Toby cries over how thin she has become, blaming himself for leaving her, while Marie observes that Toby is the one who looks incredibly haggard. Toby clings to her, telling her she must stay healthy. A week later, a fire crackles in the hearth as Marie dozes peacefully on the carpet. Toby arrives with a tray, announcing it is time for her meal. He asked Chef Britta to make special salmon porridge for her. Marie is thrilled at the prospect of actual food, noting that since the chocolate incident, Michaela has been so terrified of her getting sick again that she has fed her nothing but milk. As Toby tries to cool the hot porridge, a voice interrupts. Klaus appears, looking like a model or a god to those around him, though Marie internally notes he is a god with a nasty personality. He stares at her, making her nervous. He demands that Toby give the porridge to him, insisting that since Marie likes it hot, they should just give it to her without cooling it down. He takes the spoon and tells her she needs to eat well to get better, but as he brings the steaming hot food to her face, Marie flinches. She wonders if he even knows that cats have tongues that can burn. She tries to turn away, but Klaus becomes frustrated, calling her picky. He looms over her with a dark expression, declaring that she must eat because it is an imperial order. He presses the spoon against her mouth, earning him the internal title of crazy tyrant from the panicked kitten. Afterward, the bowl is empty. Klaus remarks that seeing her eat well makes him happy, while Marie licks her paws, thankful the soup cooled down quickly despite his efforts. She's convinced he might actually kill her one day. Klaus reaches out his hand toward her, and Marie flinches in anticipation of a blow. He halts his hand, appearing confused. Toby gently intervenes, showing the Emperor that he can touch her softly. Marie feels a pang of guilt, realizing he was only trying to pet her. Suddenly, Klaus springs up and turns away, shouting that nothing good comes from touching an animal for no reason. Later that night, Toby pats a plush pillow, telling Marie it is time for bed. He is glad she is fully recovered after a week. However, as the moon rises, a new problem emerges. Marie finds herself wide awake, her body filled with a strange, twinkling energy. She fidgets and twitches, realizing she has the strongest, most overwhelming urge to hunt. Her heart pounds as she wonders if she is losing her mind. Deep within her, two egos are at war. Her human self tells her not to forget who she is, while her feline instincts are triggered by a sudden movement. She sprints through the darkened halls, her human side screaming in protest while her cat body takes over. She corners a mouse, meowing for it to stop, but the mouse squeaks in terror, asking if she would stop if she were in its position. Ultimately, the prey gets away, leaving Marie confused about her location. From the shadows, she overhears a hushed conversation. A voice discusses a secret plan regarding a princess, mentioning a substance that causes the loss of a fetus or permanent infertility in women. The voice coldly notes it will not kill her, but that the outcome will be a good thing for them either way. They whisper about the best way to avoid suspicion, but one voice questions what they will do about the prime minister, who is always at the emperor's side. The other conspirator has a cruel solution: sprinkle nut powder on the target. Since the prime minister has a severe nut allergy, he won't touch any of it, leaving the emperor vulnerable. Hidden nearby, Marie reels in horror, realizing these lunatics are plotting to kill Klaus right now. The door remains closed, preventing her from seeing their faces, but the gravity of the threat is clear. Panic surges through her, and she decides she must check on Klaus immediately. She dashes through the dark palace, her small paws stepping and sneaking across the cold floors as quietly as possible. Reaching the royal chambers, she finds the silence oppressive and gulps, praying that nothing has happened to him yet. She questions why she is even worried about a man like him, but the mention of poisoning makes it impossible for her to turn away. She resolves to just check on him and then leave. With a quick jump, she enters the room and finds Klaus sleeping soundly, completely unaware that someone is actively trying to murder him. As she gazes at him, Klaus's eyes suddenly blink open. He looks directly at her, wondering what lump is doing there in the middle of the night. Marie flinches in shock, her heart racing as she realizes he's awake and she needs to run away. Before she can escape, Klaus reaches out and gently catches her. He pulls her close, his voice soft as he asks if she is feeling sick again. Marie shakes her head vigorously to show she's fine. Klaus looks at her with a tired expression, asking if she even understands what he's saying. He sighs, knowing she's just a cat, and tells her to go back to sleep as he flops back onto his pillow. He turns over, tucking himself back in, leaving Marie to huff at his carelessness. She can't believe an emperor could be so unprotected, and she decides she has no choice but to stay and protect him herself. She settles in, straining to stay alert, reminding herself that he swore an oath to protect her, so this is simply an act of loyalty. The next morning, the sun shines brightly over the palace. Michaela greets Marie with a joyful smile, asking if she slept well and calling her over. Marie meows and swishes her tail, but when Michaela tries to play, the kitten lets out a serious meow and strides away. Michaela stands stunned as the cat walks right past her, leaving her to cry out in disbelief. Marie heads straight for the dining hall, where she plops down on the table right in front of Klaus. Lucas watches them, noting with a grin that they even slept in the same bed last night, and asking when they became so close. He adds that Marie is the first female living being to ever enter the Emperor's bedroom. Klaus remains stoic, claiming he only let her stay because she showed up in the middle of the night and he didn't want to kick her out if she was sick. Marie internally fumes, thinking this is all because of that stupid oath they made. Despite her serious mission to be his bodyguard, she still manages to eat every bit of her own food. A maid approaches to remind Klaus that he has an audience with the officials this morning. Klaus agrees and stands to go. Marie follows him into the throne room, her eyes flaring with intensity as the officials discuss territory, mines, and wheat harvests. She watches every person in the room, wondering which one of them was the conspirator from the night before. Klaus notices her intense stare and eventually calls for a break. Toby approaches, worried that Marie might be cold, and offering to take her to the fireplace. Marie shakes her head and stands her ground, determined to endure the cold to stay by Klaus's side. Toby laughs, telling her she's amazing, and noting that even her mother, Katerina, couldn't express herself this well. This sparks Klaus's curiosity about how Katerina became a spiritual animal in the first place, considering he can't communicate with her at all. He asks Lucas if the spiritual animal usually expresses herself this much. Lucas confirms that she definitely shows her likes and dislikes. Lucas then turns to Marie with a mischievous glint in his eye, asking if she thinks the Prime Minister is handsome. Marie looks him over, busy with her thoughts, but admits to herself that he is likable, has good wits, broad shoulders, and long legs. She nods in agreement that he is quite attractive. Lucas glows with pride, but Klaus lets out a sharp "huh," asking what could possibly be handsome about Lucas's gaunt face. Lucas snaps back, complaining that his face is only like this because he's been cooped up working day and night on the Emperor's orders. Klaus scoffs, declaring that the lump clearly doesn't have a good eye for beauty. Lucas challenges him, suggesting they ask Marie to settle it. He asks the kitty cat which of them is more handsome. He sets the rules, raise the right paw for the Emperor and the left paw for him. Marie stares at these two grown men, unable to believe they are being serious. Knowing she needs to stay on the Emperor's good side to stay alive, she looks at Lucas with an apologetic gaze and raises her right paw. Klaus lets out a satisfied "heh," while Marie meows, secretly admitting it's true that Klaus is better looking. Feeling generous, Klaus orders that lump be given the best grilled salmon for dinner. That night, Klaus reaches out and pats Marie, noting how soft she feels. He whispers her name and she purrs under his hand. He asks if she really thinks he's that handsome, wondering why she had to admit it so loudly in front of everyone. Marie finds the question ridiculous, thinking she just answered what he asked and that he's the one making a fuss. As she looks at him, she sees a strange twinkle and sparkle around him, causing her to nod repeatedly. She curses her luck, telling herself she's only doing this because her life is too precious to waste. Outside the room, the guards hear a sudden burst of laughter from the Emperor, leaving them standing in confused silence. Marie wakes up on a plush pillow, only to find the spot beside her completely empty. Klaus must have gone hunting again. It's been quiet for days, giving her too much time to think. She recalls a chilling voice from her memories, warning that a certain poison only causes the loss of a fetus or infertility in women, rather than death. She shakes her head vigorously, wondering if that voice was just a dream, but she quickly concludes it was definitely real. She can't let her guard down now. The only hint she has regarding the poisoning attempt is that the toxin will be hidden in food containing nuts. There aren't enough clues, yet she refuses to sit by and do nothing. With a frustrated huff, she decides to keep an eye on Michaela since Klaus is away. She clenches her small paws in determination and heads deeper into the palace. A knock echoes against a set of grand doors as an attendant announces that the spiritual animal has arrived. Michaela looks up from her tea, surprised to see the kitten. She wonders how Marie managed to find her way there. Toby, standing nearby, explains that he didn't bring her, rather Marie followed him. Michaela is delighted, asking if the kitten has already memorized the entire palace layout. She pulls Marie into an affectionate embrace, calling her a genius and showering her with kisses. Across the table, a red-haired woman watches with interest, remarking that this must be the famous spiritual cat she's heard so much about. She asks if she might be allowed to hold her too. As the woman reaches out her gloved hands, Marie's eyes widen in an instant of pure instinct. An alert triggers in the kitten's mind. She lets out a fierce hiss, and a dark, menacing aura seems to radiate from her as she demands to know who this stranger is. Michaela quickly apologizes, explaining that it takes time for Marie to get used to strangers. Despite the kitten's low growl, Michaela seems oddly happy and proud. She urges Marie not to be wary, introducing the guest as her dear friend, Lady Emma Schmidt. Emma has traveled all the way from the Visha state in the Schmidt territory to visit the capital. Realizing she made a mistake, Marie lets out a soft meow and offers a polite bow. Michaela beams, certain that her smart little cat understands every word they are saying. As they settle back into their tea, Emma leans in to share some gossip, asking if Michaela has heard the latest news. Apparently, the princess of the Elso Empire is amassing a fortune in gold and jewels to present as a dowry to the emperor. Michaela is outraged, recalling that the princess was recently eager to conquer their empire. She scoffs, noting that the princess clearly hasn't come to her senses, even after Klaus's army defeated her forces. She doubts the emperor would ever agree to such a match. Marie's ears perk up at the mention of Elso, wondering where that is and if the man she heard previously was a spy from that rival empire. Emma pouts, suggesting the princess might be pursuing a strategic alliance. Michaela hums thoughtfully before teasing Emma, suggesting she still has feelings for her older brother. Emma blushes deeply, claiming she only admires His Majesty as much as any other girl in the empire. Michaela reminds her that as the only daughter of the Schmidt family, Emma is the lady closest to becoming the empress. Emma is ecstatic at the thought, her face glowing with joy. Michaela promises to create an opportunity for Emma to sit next to the emperor during lunch. Marie watches Emma's joyful reaction, thinking the woman has peculiar taste for liking a man like Klaus. Still, the kitten feels a sense of relief. If Emma likes Klaus, she surely won't try to poison him. She imagines the two of them as a cute couple and a good match. But suddenly, a sharp throb hits her. Her stomach hurts, and she wonders if it's just hunger. She begins to trot away, prompting Michaela to ask where she's going. Toby assumes she wants a snack and prepares to lead her out. Later, in the grand dining hall, Emma is a bundle of nerves, terrified of making a mistake in front of the emperor. Michaela tells her to relax just as the announcement comes that His Majesty and Prime Minister Walter are entering. Klaus walks in, followed by a very exhausted-looking Lucas. Lucas looks like he's been put through the ringer, and the Emperor notes that Klaus must have had him out hunting all morning. Michaela springs up to greet them, thanking Klaus for allowing Emma to join their meal. Emma offers a formal bow, greeting the son of Kella. Michaela reveals that the main dish is venison steak, which Emma brought specifically from Vish. Klaus remains cold, suggesting they cut the chit-chat and sit down. Michaela is annoyed by his brusque attitude, noting that if they stand any longer, the Prime Minister might actually pass out. She decides to take matters into her own hands and pushes Emma toward the seat next to Klaus, claiming she wants to sit elsewhere today. Lucas notes that the girls are being far too obvious. Klaus stares at Marie, who is sitting further down the table, and tells her to come closer. Marie meows in agreement and hops up near him. As the meal begins, Michaela mentions the game Klaus caught that morning. Klaus dryly replies that he only caught 2 foxes because of the winter weather. Emma tries to join the conversation, remarking how impressive it is to catch anything in such frigid conditions. She then asks if the Emperor has plans to relocate to Luella Palace, near her territory of Vish, for the winter, mentioning that the former Emperor always did so. The table goes silent as Klaus halts his movements. He looks at her with a chilling, icy glare, asking since when it became acceptable for a mere daughter of a duke to discuss the Emperor's residence. Emma immediately bows her head in apology, stammering that she only thought it would be better because Vish is warmer and has more game. Lucas is stunned that Emma would bring up the former Emperor of all people. She watches the awkward scene, thinking Klaus is incredibly rude for embarrassing Emma when she was only trying to be inviting. The kitten hears a rattle as the tension in the room thickens. Finally, an attendant breaks the silence, announcing that dessert is ready. Michaela asks what they brought for dessert, but Marie finds the attendant's voice familiar. He announced it was wine made with milk and nuts, and as expected, Lucas rejects the drink. As Klaus reaches for the drink, Marie panics, thinking the drink is suspicious, and leaps towards Klaus, risking her life to stop him from drinking. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.